Perhaps you know that I had cancer last year, and when I had my first vague prognosis, it was lung cancer spread or breast cancer spread. We knew where the secondary cancer or tumour was located in the back, but we didn't know where the primary cancer is sitting. Well, in the end, it ended out differently, but I was faced with thinking, how many weeks, how many months have I got left? Because when this cancer would have spread on the liver, on the kidney, on the bladder, I wouldn't have noticed anything. So I didn't know where my cancer is and how much cancer I have got. So I lay in bed because I couldn't sit. I could hardly walk because I started to become disabled and paralyzed in my legs. So I was really thinking, what have I achieved? What was my life like? Did I enjoy it? Well, I might not do much more. So what was it like? And what would I like to do with the rest of my time? That was actually the hardest bit because I had long-term plans. So when you're faced with this situation, I can tell you, you change. And I've changed. And that fits to what I'm going to introduce you now. And later, I will come back to my story. I will introduce a perfect day to you now. It's not the perfect day I normally work with, but it's a different one. And I think it's quite good to start thinking, how do you want to live? And it will help you to reduce your stress. At the moment, I suppose work is taking a lot of time during the day. It might be you're working 10 hours a day. So that means 60 to 100 hours a week. Think about it. So what are you doing? You're rushing from one meeting to the next. You're deciding. Oh, you are presentating. You are having perhaps sales discussions, etc., etc. And to add things, you might be in a club, having responsibilities there as well. To be honest, that's work for me. It's no inspiration. It's nothing. It's work. It adds to it. So now, set that, I want to tell you what is inspiration, as I mention it right now. Inspiration is when you go out with friends to the cinema, for example. If you sit at home and paint, go into the garden, do some gardening. If you go and knit or crochet, whatsoever, that's inspiration. If you listen to podcasts, audibles, reading books, if possible, in paper, these are inspirations. Just to give you an idea what inspirations are. So, the question is, what is your health looking like? Well, working 100 hours a week is not really a good idea long term. So, what is your health like? Are you smoking? And are you drinking a beer, a wine in the evening to calm down? Do you think these are healthy habits? No, not really, is it? So perhaps we should do something for our health. So, and last but not least, what is your relationship like? What are your friendships like? These are relationships as well. We're not only thinking of your partner. So are you going out and socializing? Not business-like, private. Are you going out and having a day trip? Are you spending time with your kids? Or is it just, well, that's my wife doing? No, it isn't. You are the dad. You are the one who has to look after your kids as well. It's your responsibility as well. So, no, these 4 qualities are the ones that should be balanced. And as I mentioned, I don't think they are. So the question is, and now I'm coming back to the story I told you at the beginning. I had the cancer, I have a full remission, and I am working again. But I can tell you something, I'm not working as hard as I used to do. And I'm not interested in doing it. I won't do it again because I don't want to. So I really advise you to change, because, as I said, it could be dangerous to work so many hours. And what I want you to do now is to think backwards. Imagine you are in my position. Just imagine it. You don't have to go through it, luckily. Be grateful for. And think, what would you want your today to look like? And think of the 4 fields or qualities I mentioned before: profession, health, relationship, and inspiration. And now you might well sit down, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, exhale, stop breathing for a moment and inhale, stop for a moment, exhale, and go on like that for a few minutes. And every thought that might come into your mind, you send on a cloud and let it go. So, and when you've done that and you realize how you calm down, you start imagining what would be if you just worked 4 hours. What would be your responsibilities? What boundaries would you set? What would you delegate? Where would you need additional personnel? For example, bookkeeping, marketing, sales, social media. What have you done until or up to now? So then go into the next field. When would you like to do some exercise? When would you like to go to the gym? When would you like to have a run? When would you like to have a walk? Or would you like to have a dog to force you, so to say, to go out and to have a companion? would you like to be your relationships like? Where would you like to go out to? With whom? Who would you like to spend more time with? And last but not least, who are your inspirations? Who would you like to spend more time learning? Whose podcasts would you like to hear? Which blogs would you like to read? Which books would you like to read? What would you like to draw, crochet, knit? Would you like to go gardening or do some gardening? Working with the earth is really grounding you, so that might be some good idea to start with. So when you have finished thinking about what your day is supposed to be looking like, you might come back into reality. If you want to, you write it down and work on it. It's a process. It's not stop by imagining. You might repeat this exercise because, of course, these things develop. But it just gives you an idea how you really want to look, how you really want your day to look like. Go into it, imagine it, and really start putting it to reality.